I've been prepping my last ceiling panel. Definitely the most complicated so far because of all the cutouts I've got. In doing so, you have to do all your cutouts ahead of time. Fantastic fan. These are vents and electrical feed through, and then another light. So I want to take a minute to talk about insulation because it's a real controversial topic in the van building world. I am going more of a kind of a semi-conventional route. I'm using regular roll insulation, but I'm using Thinsulate. This is a superior product for van builds. It's used, I think, by a good majority of van builders. It's not cheap, and that keeps it from being used by everybody, but it's not that much more in the bigger scheme of things, and I think it's well worth getting a roll or two of this. And then this Reflectix is another product I use in conjunction with this. So you put your insulation on your wall, and then you put your thermal barrier facing inside the van, and you get something like that. Okay, so this is a radiant barrier. This is I guess a convection, or not convection, but a conduction barrier. And so the two working together will give you, I think I heard like R7 or 8. But if you're going with like this Duratherm lining kit from Legend, it's got a honeycomb, which are like thousands and thousands of air pockets trapped behind the hard inner plastic, creating R value. And then they also have a little bit of foam for sound deadening, and it also adds a slight amount of R value. Then you got a radiant barrier, just like the Reflectix. So if you're going this route, you don't really need to do this. I just happen to have a roll of it. I bought for my headliner, and I had to buy a whole roll, so I've been putting it in my ceiling like this, just because I have it. I think if you do put this kit in and you don't have the Reflectix, then I wouldn't sweat it. Supposedly, according to the manufacturer, they say this adds R4. I find that very hard to believe. But anyway, it's on their website, and I'm sure they did some sort of thermal study, and maybe they have the numbers to back it up. I don't know. But I think this, in conjunction with the Thinsulate, is going to get me up to at least R7, R8, which is pretty good for a van. So before I can put this last ceiling panel up, I had to do all the stuff in the van, such as insulating and finishing off those hole penetrations through the roof. Now I'm to the wiring part of it. There's actually 3 phases to this. One, I have to do the wiring that's installed on the panel itself to run these lights. And then I have to also wire up the fans, the bath fan and the max fan. And then the third thing is right up here, I'm going to bring wire from the main electrical cabinet on the driver's side over the top, and I'll have it built into a harness and clamping, and it'll run and drop down here inside a smaller cabinet on the passenger side, and it'll distribute from there. So I got my crossover wire harness in. In fact, I got all the wiring done now. That's going under this last ceiling panel. And here's my, basically bringing over 120. There's some other stuff in here. There's a wire for my refrigerator. These big ones are power feeders for that auxiliary fuse panel I'm putting in a cabinet right in this area, so I don't have to run a bunch more wiring. You can see how much wiring I got. There's spare wires in there too. In case I forgot something, I've got wiring in place. And that's how I attached it up there. And then my main electrical integration area is going to be right up here. So that's why all this wire's terminating there. And here's the foam blocks. This one's trimmed way back. It went out to about here. And I have plans for a lavatory, and the bulkhead wall's going to be right along here. So that had to get trimmed. It's glued up there with that automotive adhesive for molding and stuff. Same with this one. And I didn't do anything to this one. My ceiling panel is going to be cut out around it. All right, the last ceiling panel is in place. And I have to say, after all that fretting, everything lined up perfectly. All my cutouts, and there's a lot of them. Even these little nutserts that I had to drill a hole to expose those. Everything lined up. I did a lot of measuring, double checking, triple checking, and it all went in pretty damn clean. My wife helped me. Here's the knockout in Legends liner. I removed it, and you can see it fits perfectly. They apparently know what they're doing. In fact, I have not really had a hole misaligned. Nothing was their fault. A couple of things I did that made things a little bit more difficult, but I worked through that. Here's the other acoustical foam block. I trimmed it back, and I did this little knockout. You can see my gap's a lot bigger. I make bigger gaps because this is going to be covered up, so I don't really care. But really happy with this Legend liner kit so far. There's the Max Air, the beauty trim ring on. These are Legend lights. I bought a whole package. I'm starting to put in the ceiling to wall trim. And again, these are all pre-drilled. Here's a screw. And they go right into these holes that are existing in the liner. So you don't have to drill multiple holes. You can use this to hold the liner, and also this aluminum trim kit. They've really thought this through. So anyway, I guess I got my wire harness in, got everything coiled and stowed so it doesn't flop around when I'm driving. Same with on this side. And the last thing I have to do is finish off this trim. Here you can see above the doorway, the knockout. That was in this trim panel, and you cut some little tabs to release it, or you could leave it. Yeah. And so anyway, after I get this other trim piece up and finish up a little odds and ends, I will give you my final thoughts on this Legend liner. You can tell by my talking about it during the video that I do like it. Well, I finally got this project done, this ceiling and wall liner project of mine. It took over a month, and I worked on it. I try to get out here a couple hours a day at least and work on this project. But it all went in, and a lot of the time, most of the time actually, was spent prepping everything, because this is an RV conversion. It's not just putting in the wall and liner kit. It's also cutting holes and prepping everything, running wire, all that. That's what ate up the time. Actual installation of these wall and ceiling panel and the trim, you're probably talking 5 hours, maybe 6 hours, something like that. I will link videos to Upfit, who sold me this Legend kit, and you can see their technicians putting it in, and you can tell that it just goes really fast. Yeah, the actual panel installation was anticlimactic because it was all the prep work behind the scenes to get here. So anyway, I'll give you the quick tour. Here's the wall to ceiling trim kit that comes, you know, you can add that as part of this package. I got the wheel well liners also. Those are insulated. And of course the ceiling and the wall kit. So 4 components to this. Everything fits, lines up. All their knockouts are very precise, except for this one. For some reason they made this bigger. I don't know, I'll probably put a plate over that and a cutout for the light. But everything else is right on the money. Very happy with the fit and finish of this kit. And yes, I would buy it again. I don't really care about aesthetics that much. That's a secondary priority. I wanted something durable, maintenance-free, reasonably priced. It's not cheap, but it's certainly cheaper than some of the wood panel kits that you can buy that are prefabbed. And it's cheaper, more expensive than, say, a guy just doing it himself. But that would take a lot of work if you actually had to line up these panels and make them fit. You'd have to have templates or something. Light kits all were plug and play. Oh, that was another thing. I guess that's 5 things because I did buy the optional light. I got 2 of them. You can get up to 4, I believe. They're all plug and play. Really nice connector hookups. Here's one right here. This is the power coming into it. So I guess, yeah, I would buy this again. I don't think it's bad. I think the trade-off is it's maintenance free and reasonably neutral and everything. I mean, yeah, it kind of looks like a work truck in here, but a lot of this will be covered up anyway. You won't see much of the wall. You know, realistically speaking, Legend. And no, I'm not getting anything from Legend. I paid for all this. This is just my opinion. So that wraps up this video. Next video, I probably will be installing the headliner and a parcel tray up there. I will also be reviewing some dry flush toilets in an upcoming episode if you're in the market. So until then, I will see you on the next episode. Thanks for watching.